Hey there, Joe DeSanto here, your old pal and personal finance pro. At least that's what I like to think about myself. I think it's a pretty reasonable moniker. Um, okay, so just another Q&A video here. It's going to be a short and painless one. I'm talking a little bit about why retirees might retain a CPA for their taxes and how much does it cost, and can you even kind of look at this as potentially the cost as some kind of investment? So I'm not fully retired, so I can't honestly say for sure. But my feeling as to why retirees might spend the extra money to have someone help them with their taxes versus doing it themselves is just to make sure they're both uh, fully understanding the tax law around withdrawing from retirement accounts, and whatever tax implications come with their Social Security in combination with their other withdrawals in terms of combined limits and tax brackets and so on. Um, and making sure that they're being most tax efficient in the way that they withdraw money either from retirement accounts or take dividends or sell stocks to raise money for living expenses from taxable brokerage accounts. I think most of the reason that they would hire a CPA would be in and around these topics. And quite honestly, if we're talking about a sum total of retirement income pre-tax that they have is in the $4,000 to $5,000 a month range, it may be a moot point because their tax liability, may be small and it may be a non-complicated situation or an uncomplicated situation. But if you're up in, 80, 90, 100 plus 200,000, 300,000 per year of post-retirement withdrawals from IRAs, 401ks, Roth accounts, whatever it might be, life insurance accounts, as well as intermixing Social Security and taxable brokerage accounts, either in the form of capital gains or dividends and so on. I think having some professional advice on the best way to make that the most efficient would be good. Now, also, in talking about the cost of the CPAs, the cost of CPAs can range quite a bit, and it's partly because the term CPA is used very widely when technically it's not supposed to. Now, a CPA, certified public accountant, is a certain level of tax professional and tax preparer. They're at the top. They are someone that has to be relicensed every year. They have to do a certain amount of continuing education. And generally, I find that CPAs will charge for a personal tax return anywhere from $750 up to $3,000-$4,000, depending on the complexity of it. Below CPAs and also lesser expensive in terms of tax preparers would be first the enrolled agent. Now, I should say also the CPA can represent you in an audit, right? And that may be beneficial if you have sort of a complex scenario with retirement withdrawals and so on. The enrolled agent is not at the level of CPA, doesn't have the same education or licensing, but they have taken the exams necessary to represent their clients in audits. So they tend to be a little bit lower in the pricing. Maybe you're going to spend $500 to $1,500 for an annual personal tax return. And I'm just sort of guesstimating based on my experience, but these ranges will change depending on what city you're in, how complex your return is, do you have a lot of real estate, blah, blah, blah. The lowest level of tax preparer is just a registered tax preparer, and that person doesn't even need that much education in accounting, if any. They just need to go to the IRS and they can take an exam to become a registered tax preparer. But their experience in dealing with more complex tax matters is going to be the least and far less than probably what you want. And also, they cannot represent you in audit. So if you and them conjure up this or that or the other on your tax return, and then you get audited, and you go, "Hey, can you talk to the IRS for me?" They can't. So, but because of all of that, they cost the least. You might be able to get a registered tax preparer to do your tax return for a couple $100, maybe between $200 and $600. So you want to check what credential the tax preparer you're using has. I think at least an enrolled agent is probably best if you're going to pay somebody, because you do want someone to help you out in the case of an audit. Um, and and that's that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. It happens sometimes. So those are the reasons I think retirees might consider the tax professional, and those are the types you want to look for, and you want to double check what the qualification of your choice is. Okay, I'll talk to you in the next video. Thanks.